Guess how many people get sold for sex in this country, if they're lucky, just sex, every day, every day? 15,000. That comes from the U.S. State Department, to the extent that you believe anything anymore. Today, here's something that you better believe. 72 people were arrested. 72. Think about that. 29 victims rescued from a massive human sex trafficking bust in Mississippi. Operation Guardian Force took 2 weeks, 400 federal, state, and local agencies working together. Talk about your tax dollars at work. More of this, please. Let's bring in former detective and former White House human trafficking czar, Bill Woolf. Bill, thank you very much for being with me tonight. And bravo on these men and women that got this done. You know, this is an issue that's a talking point, but nobody ever captures the reality. Where does this size up in your estimation?
Look, I mean, human trafficking is something that's happening all across the country every day, as you mentioned in the beginning. We got to give our credit to the Attorney General, who really focused in on this effort. Back in my investigative days, this was something that we would try to plan these these operations, and they're really complicated to get this many law enforcement agencies together, to get victim services, to be able to conduct the actual investigations themselves. So well done to Mississippi and the Attorney General's office.
So 72 people, what are we looking at here? Is this like what you think is prostitution that now we just call human trafficking, or is there more to it that we have to understand?
Yeah, so prostitution obviously is what we have historically called commercial sex. We talk about human trafficking, sex trafficking in particular. We're talking about where it's forced or people are coerced or defrauded into this, or even worse, and we saw in this case where at least one juvenile, one child was involved in this type of conduct. And so it's growing at an exponential rate. You mentioned it earlier on the show. We're seeing where the internet is becoming a problem. We're seeing where these traffickers, the offenders, are just getting access to younger and younger people and exploiting them for sex.
So I was looking to see if the missing persons registries were going to be somehow implicated in this. And I talked to somebody today and she said, no. Unfortunately, a lot of the people, unless they're really young, who get caught up in this are people that people decided to just give up on, or they lie about what's going on because they've been told if they don't lie about it, they're dead. Is that true? And how do they get help now that they've been rescued?
Yeah, in the United States, the average age that somebody first enters into the sex trafficking trade is about 16 years old. In cases a lot younger, I've worked cases as young as 9 years old that were being sold for sex. But the reality is that oftentimes, you're right, these young people are written off by the system. They're said, they're juvenile delinquents, they're non-responsive to services. And so we don't invest the time or the effort. We've really got to do better about shifting the narrative around this. As you mentioned in the beginning, this is a domestic problem. Right? This is something that's happening here in the United States. It's happening in our communities. It has the ability to impact every neighborhood across our country right now. Yes, those that are coming across the border are particularly vulnerable to trafficking, but it's also U.S. kids and young adults that are being targeted as well.
Yeah, and very often lower on the socioeconomic ladder. White, yes. But the racial diversity of it, let's call it, is almost the most closest thing to parity we have in this society, which is proof of why it doesn't get as much attention as well. If it were all beautiful young white kids from suburban neighborhoods, it'd probably be more of an urgency. Mr. Woolf, we take the problem where we find it, and today is a win, baby, because this is a big bust. Thank you very much for being with me.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be able to do this again and soon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.